Welcome everyone to another episode of Dynamics Corner. You know, Brad, I've been running lately, like 10K every other day. And you know what? I learned a little bit about performance. And I think we're going to talk about performance. I'm your co-host, Kris.
And this is Brad. This episode was recorded on July 3rd, 2025. Kris. 10K every other day. That rhymes.
It does.
And yes, today we did have the opportunity to talk about some performance tips and tricks for AL development, as well as some other things such as water polo. With us today, we had the opportunity to speak with Stefan Šošić.
All right.
Good afternoon.
Are we going to get it right this time?
Yeah. I hope that now it's fine.
It's fine now. Thankfully, it's fine.
How is the refrigerator?
It's working. It was a little touch and go this morning because I had texted Kris a short while ago, and I had messaged him that I may be okay because he was finishing up. Yesterday he was not able to finish.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. It sounds like you got, like, you know, this funny joke when someone prank calls you and says, hey, Brad, is your refrigerator running? It is? You better go after it.
Well, just to set the stage, this is our third time trying to do the recording. The first time we had technical issues with the platform, so we had to reschedule. Then we rescheduled it for yesterday, and my refrigerator shorted out, and they were supposed to come service it in the afternoon, but they showed up early. They showed up at the exact same time we were supposed to record. So he was here, he was working on it, went through it, and then said, oh, I don't have the part. I'll come back tomorrow. And I was like, are you really coming back tomorrow? So no, he goes, I'll be here first thing. So he came here first thing this morning. He replaced the part that he thought was broken. And then it still didn't work. So then he goes, I have to drive to the office to get another part, and I'll be back. And I go, where is your office? Like, how far is it from here? I didn't think I'd see him again. Sure enough, he showed up and he fixed it, and it seems to be working. I don't know yet, because if it's a refrigerator, you have to wait for it to cool. I'm more concerned about the ice maker, to be honest with you, because in order for him to fix it, he had to pull the whole ice maker out. You know how ice makers are in the refrigerators.
Yeah.
So he just finished up a few moments ago. I was touch and go, but now I'm better. So
Nearly reschedule once more.
If we would have had to reschedule again, I wouldn't know what I would do.
Man, we appreciate your patience.
Yes. It's a true testament. Your flexibility and your patience have been great, because we've been able to talk every single time, but just not able to record. So we do appreciate you taking the time to speak with us, and congratulations on your recent MVP as well. Which is a big and notable accomplishment. It's well deserved for you as well. And before we get into the conversation, would you mind telling everyone a little bit about yourself?
So, yeah, a lot of career past, so to say. So started like in QA side, working for gaming company, something like that, and then afterwards, like, started with Navision back then. Early steps of Business Central. So me and my colleague started working with it. So even debugger didn't work. So it was like first version of Business Central. We was like installing it, tweaking some things, trying to develop. But at the end, it was success. But I'm there from beginning of the life of Business Central, so to say, and committed to it like from early beginning. And that's, I think, also one of the reasons why I'm here, like a professional in that part. So yeah, generally now working only with Business Central, sometimes Navision, of course, but preferring Business Central to use most of it, all of its new benefits, technologies, and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, the technology is improving. It's great, and I know what you mean. There are still Navision customers out there. I know of
yeah.
I know of a Navision 2009, but it's actually not even 2009. It's version 4 on the 2009 platform.
I think we was also now at MVP Summit, and I think one of MVPs, or I'm not sure, somebody at the group mentioned that he still has a customer running on DOS. So
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
yeah, so
That's
it's going far as that. So
it's going
I thought
back with
AS400 was bad enough.
back on
yeah, but a lot of customers are now going to that path. I see a lot of upgrades, even with the partner I'm working on now, and that whole situation changed straightforward. And looking forward, more and more customers to get on the cloud, but still some big issues, big change, big things to be done, and so on, challenges to be resolved. So we will come there, but yeah, it's a path that we need to cross.
Yes. I mean, I think at that point, if you're using those older versions, I think a re-implementation is the way to go instead of trying to upgrade or something like that, because you just have a strict challenge. So you also do quite a bit from the technology side with it. You share a lot of interesting articles, or you write a lot of interesting articles as well.
Yeah, sure. So I'm more into developer side, also functional bit, but even more last years, but experts, so to say, in the development area. And I started also with some app source free apps to develop some add-ins, JSON add-ins. So there are some cool free add-ins available there. But also I wanted to step up more, and got into the whole community and started writing blogs alongside with all the conferences. And yeah, the conferences aren't too hard, because at the faculty, when I was studying, I was teaching out of faculty for 2 years. And during those teaching period, so there was one one exam, so to say, regards information systems. So we was able to do some tweaking and changes at the faculty with other professors and so on. And we brought the Business Central as a full semester course. So now they are getting the course of Business Central, and yeah.
Wow.
So this is at a university where they're teaching Business Central as which portions are they teaching? The functional aspect of it, or are they teaching the development?
No, development. The functional, there are functional parts, but the course is regarding development. So it is like the story of information systems, ERP systems, and so on. And then from the practical side of that course, there is Business Central that follows that theoretical knowledge, so to say.
Okay, yeah, we were just talking about that, Brad. Here in the US, where I think there's a couple episodes ago where, can you imagine if there's actually an ERP course, and just the process of implementing an ERP. Now you could, use Business Central as a tool as you're teaching that class. I think it'll benefit the industry, to be honest with you, because no one ever knows what is an ERP. Only way after, because you're using it.
The main challenge also is finding good people, good developers, and so on. And if they don't have any knowledge about ERP systems, it is really hard. And at this point now that they have course the whole semester, they end up with some knowledge, and it's easier. They start junior, not junior in any programming language, but juniors as Business Central, and they are able to start working on it right away. So not knowing the processes, of course, and what's behind, and so on, but it is still one path is still crossed, and it's easier to overcome like all the challenges in Business Central. So easier for us to train them and so on.
No, it is. I do think with Business Central in AL development, to focus on development, I have a lot of questions for development for you. But I think with AL development, it's not like other languages in the sense of being able to you can pick it up and develop and be able to do something with it. But to be able to pick up and develop and to do something for the application is much different. Because
exactly. So,
you're one of the challenges, and I like the approach that you had mentioned, where you learn, and Kris, this goes with what we're talking about, you learn basic business and ERP functionality first.
Right.
Then you can develop, because Business Central development, you're already developing on a framework. So it's a language, it's a powerful language. You could create separate standalone functions per se, right? Or standalone applications. But to get it to be productive with the application, you have to understand that framework first. So you have to understand the relationships to it. So
yep.
That's one of the foundations of what I try to emphasize to someone who's new to development or someone who's looking to get into it. Because how do you say like, oh, I want to be an AL developer? Right? A lot of people want to, do Python, C#, Java, pick all the other languages, Node. But with AL, for someone to get into it, it's almost like, how do you entice someone to want to come into that space outside of?
It's challenging. Like I have a lot of developers behind me and being trained by me, and it's a long road, so to say. And like first 3 months, you can determine if somebody is able to do that and if he likes it. And if that matches, then you successfully continues, but then it's slow progress because as you said, everyone can code. So the syntax is like straightforward. You can learn any programming language syntax and that's it. So that's not like main challenge of programming. It's programming logic, abilities to solve the problems, how you understand, how you would basically make the architecture and so on and so on. So much deeper. It goes much deeper. And I think like for most of the people, when they learn like AL as programming language, they think, okay, now I know. So now I am not a junior anymore. But that's not true. Like then they spend like 1 more year learning. So we have like experience like even after 1.5 years until 2 years. So then they see like in the past, I didn't know that. So but it takes time also to understand like what you didn't know, because at some point you would see yourself like, I know everything. But that's because you take a look on your technical side, like programming, and that's it. But the functional side, that's like smashing you.
No, you're right, and that's the point. Is I think to be a technical developer, I mean, you don't have to know every little piece of it, but I think you need to have a good understanding of the framework and the functional aspect of it. Because how can you properly develop if you don't know the process? Because even adding a field to a sales order header, if you don't understand the posting process and how it flows through properly, you can find yourself in a jam quite easily with that. So with that, you're working with a lot of developers who are coming into the AL language.
Yeah.
What are some tips, based on the experience that you have with the group that you've been working with, what are some tips that you have for someone, or what are some suggestions that you have, or even some challenge you've seen individuals come into that will help someone on their journey of AL? And then with that, how do you attract people to AL? I ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, like I said, it's tricky, but you don't start like I heard some stories like from other partners in Serbia that they are juniors usually start with reports, which isn't really too much interesting.
It starts with a report.
Yeah.
Don't make them run away. Just kidding.
And most of the people actually run away, or after some years they end up like knowing only reports, or like they end up like saying to others like, oh, I had really boring part of my career starting with reports only. And I heard that a lot, even from developers who started before, who are now seniors and so on, that they started also their path with reports only. So we start here with some simpler functionalities, some interactions with the data, and the graphical interface, and so on and so on. Then we move forward, and at some point, I usually like to put some add-ins and so on, because they interact maybe with something which is for them familiar, like HTML, JavaScript, and so on.
So you're talking control add-in, so that somebody could add a user control add-in to the application. It's actually cool.
They connect those two, and then it's more familiar, more interesting. They have more interaction, because when you see like other programming languages, you can change like colors and everything, like do graphical something changes and so on, UI changes, so to say. And from Business Central, you do only background, like backend development, so to say.
Some people like that. They like that you don't have to worry about creating the forms or the pages, as we call them. You just put the objects, or you put the fields on the page, or whatever controls that you have, I call them, and it does the layout for you. It resizes it, repositions it, so it does make it a little bit easier.
That's what I said, like on the beginning, like you have like 3 months, and you will see like if that new guy is fitting like in this area. So some of them don't, some of them yes, they fit, and you will see that across some months. So yeah, it's not for everybody, but also I like to say that you should do what you love to do, and then it's easier for you to come to work and to spend, because for Business Central you need like a lot of dedication, because a lot of changes coming in the weeks, in the months, even, and to follow each of those on top of what is already being released is a lot. And you need like really good dedication and motivation.
You're saying what everyone is saying right now. It's great. The product is great. There's so many features and functionality to it, but it's as I keep saying, we're at the point now where not only are they changing the language every month, they're changing the application every month. So it's depending upon which version you're working on, sometimes it's challenging to say, did they introduce this new development, data type, for example? Oh, this came out in 26.2, not 26.0. So it is tough, and it does take a lot of dedication. But if you have fun with it, like you mentioned, then it doesn't become work, as they say. It becomes fun.
It will, from the functional side, it will become even, so to say, worse, but actually better, because I'm actively like working with Microsoft product team with contributions for Microsoft apps, so base app mostly from my side, and we are seeing like more and more partners, developers joining for some pull requests. So imagine that in a few years, like everybody opening some pull requests to fix some issues, add some functionalities. So it will grow even faster.
I like the ability for contributions, for functionality. And again, I'm repeating myself here, but you and I haven't spoken about this. I know Kris and I have. I like the ability for community members, partners, or individuals to be able to create pull requests, to add functionality, and to also correct functionality that may not be working quite properly. My only fear is there will be too much, because how many things can you add into an application where it becomes very difficult to configure? Whereas you have so many setup options, and from a user perspective and an implementation point of view, we add all these features and functionality, and I hate to bring up AI or something, but we almost need some sort of dynamic wizard to help somebody set up all of these new configurations that get added as well, because that functionality can vary quite a bit. And I don't know, to me, sometimes it could be a point where it's too much. Maybe I'm just getting old and it's overwhelming.
But there is a line, like each new feature, like which is getting in base app, is approved by Microsoft. So if it is fully new feature, like then it needs to gather some votes from the community. So is that really something that whole community will benefit from? So if that functionality is only for yourself, that doesn't make sense. So the main point basically of the contribution is to bring new functionality which whole community will benefit from. And then that's important part that the first that functionality idea gets support by the whole community, and then that's the step where we continue with that idea and develop it.
Yeah, certainly.
No, it is. It's still. I still hope that it doesn't get too complicated. I just remember the old days of it. So, from the development point of view, and you work with the technical point of view, what are some of the latest improvements in the language that had come out recently that you appreciate and you like? I know a lot of new features come out within the language. What are some of the recent changes that many may not be aware of that you like? I know, because it's very difficult, even from the partner point of view or from the customer side point of view, if you're an internal developer, to keep up with it, because you're working with a version that may not be quite current. Even if you're online, you may not be out with the latest release because you can delay those updates several months now.
Yeah, I think like from my experience and in the past weeks, so I had used mostly like the JSON parsers, like get text from the JSON token and so on. So those built-in now features and also the date features, like get date, get the month, and so on. So that has been like pretty handy. And for some apps, I did compile on the latest version, but at the end, like it was breaking on older versions, so it had to be done like on 2 implementations for now. But I think that's part, like at this point, is mostly used by me, at least, so to say.
Yeah. And then also, I follow some of the stuff that you write as well. You write some very good articles, and everyone, I think, will have a link to your blog in there and should read it too. But you do some interesting things. I liked your article on the HTTP test calls that we can do now as well.
Yeah, that's also one of the things, and also like mocking of the tests. So. But whole story behind also, like for page scripting.
Oh, so, you're gonna go down a road that you're gonna send me on a tangent.
I think everyone loves that.
I'll be quiet.
And anytime we talk about BC and we talk about page scripting, I mean, I swear it could be every episode because we love it so much.
So, but there is story behind, like I said, like I started my career as QA, then moved to development, JavaScript, PHP, Java for automated testing, Selenium, and so on and so on. So there is a whole background, and after the faculty, I cooperated with one of the professors there, and there is like course about application testing, and we've written the whole book for the students, which is also available. I think I put it also one part I translated on English and put on the blog, because the methodology which is described in that book is basically what is page scripting based on. So yeah, if you understand the methodology, you will be able to understand better page scripting itself. And page scripting itself, it came like on top, because all the experience from Selenium tests and so on, that was now that I was able to do that same with Business Central. So
no, it's a wonderful feature, and I'm looking forward to it being enhanced and officially released, hopefully in the future, in a future version. It's still in the preview tag, which means many things, but I think with everyone's interest in it and some of the things I've seen at some of the conferences, there's a good future for it.
Exactly. So even now, since it was on the conferences, even on the tech days, so page scripting is getting more capabilities and new features. So that part is not anymore under NDA. So
okay, then you can tell us now. Right? It was at BC Tech Days. Can you tell us about some of the new features that are planned and released? Because again, as you had mentioned, if they present it at the conference, then it's no longer secret. I call it secret. I call NDA secret.
True, because this was disclosed, and then since it was on conference, like you said, it's not disclosed anymore. But the features, like now, from what I remember, some variables, dynamic variables, I'm not sure. Like I forgot fully. Have to refresh myself. But there are some big improvements, I think, also with the properties, which you can like on the right click choose and so on. So I think one thing I liked the most, but I cannot remember what was it without looking on my notes. So
oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, the BC Tech Days videos, I think they're starting to come out now. I think they're starting to publish them.
There is a change, like from the past years. This time. Videos are already out, but only for ticket holders.
Oh,
so,
wow!
After a few months from now, I think that's what I heard at least. So it will be publicly available. So this is just to protect somehow the ticket holders and to gain most of the benefit at first ticket holders, then everybody else.
I understand that, and that makes sense. It does make sense because it's often when you go to these conferences that there's many sessions, and something like BC Tech Days that has a lot of good technical content, you can't be in two places at once. So to be able to go back and reference the videos and have some time to digest them before they're released is good as well.
Yeah, so. Yeah, exactly. And then you don't have like me to remember all the stuff. I attended that session. I know what it's about, so when I need to refresh what's new, what will be coming, I can just jump to that video and then watch that part.
That is the world of 2025. I tell everyone, you can understand something and just be aware of it, but you have to know how to find it. And I think that's becoming easier and easier with
it's
becoming not to mention that with the AI. I saw that even now they have the MCP server for Learn that they released the other day,
exactly.
so that you have all these just ways to get knowledge. Sometimes I think there's too much knowledge, but I agree with you. Understanding what's available and then knowing that sometimes can help you, so you can figure out what you need to get and where you need to find the information, which is good. Just go back to page scripting. It's a question. I wanted your opinion on this. I get asked this question a lot. I've done several sessions on page scripting, and I've even talked with individuals professionally about page scripting.
Mm-hmm.
How do you determine? All right, so we have unit tests that we can create and code from a development point of view. And the idea of page scripting was, again, it's not replacing the unit development test. It's just to give you another user acceptance testing mechanism.
Yeah.
What should someone do to determine, how should someone determine what needs to be a page script, for example, or like how to determine how to structure the page scripts or how to start and finish their page scripts? Like what approach, if someone wants to start using page scripting, should they take to use that feature to give them user acceptance testing or provide them user acceptance testing?
Yeah, that's like exactly point of my book. So,
Okay.
The page scripting is methodology wise. When you take a look, it is black box testing. So you are testing something what you don't know what is the code behind. So that's like when we take a look from the front end side, you are testing the functionality, you click around, you execute, but you don't see subscribers, you don't see the procedures and everything. So you test only one path, but based on the input. So what is black box testing? You have some inputs, they go through the box, and there is an output. So basically, you know the output which you want to have, and you know the inputs. But the whole functionality which is in the middle, it's not visible to you. So you compare only those two. And when you have the unit tests, that's whole different story, because you are writing them either with test-driven development, where you first do the test, then development, or you do the development, then see the test coverage, like to cover the test, the function and the test paths as most as possible, each process and everything. And to do that with page scripting, it's not possible. Like not always you are controlling some inputs, like some variables are differently calculated in the background or dynamically retrieved, and you cannot do everything like that with page scripting. And with the unit tests, you can set up, initial setup variables, then run the tests, and then cover the path that you want, and then tweak it out, and then you will have really good test coverage. But on black box, the page scripting, I would not see it as a tool only for testing. That's what I am also speaking about with other members of the community, so to say. It's also a really good tool to reproduce bugs, to capture some scenarios, and even for learning certain processes. So if you record it, then you can easily transfer to another developer, say, you do this process, and this will be created, for example, and so on. So there are multiple functions of it, and one of it is testing itself, but it's totally different methodology from the testing. Yeah.
I laugh and I chuckle because that is the case, that with the page scripting, that I do see it used a lot more than for testing. I do see it used for training, for repro, and even correction. I've seen cases where someone's updated data, like on a setup or something, and sent it to someone and said, here, run this script, and it will update.
Really?
Yes, yeah. So if you think of from the customer point of view, where if you're supporting and you're doing support for a customer and they may have a problem, and you realize the problem is, let's just say they don't have something enabled on the purchase and payable setup, and they may know it. You can record the script for them to go back and enable that feature and send them the script and let them run it. Or if they have to change some data or fix some data. So it's
clever.
Good. It's also good for repro, as Stefan mentioned, is you can, if you're giving support for somebody, if they have a process that's not working properly, or they have an error message that pops up, you'd say, hey, can you just show me what you did to get to that point? So now you just have them send you the script, and you can run the script and see what they're doing outside of the training. So to go back to what you're saying, so the unit testing, you have more control because you can do the initialization of the data or anything else within the system that you need, and then go through the tests, where the page scripting is black box testing, which you know the inputs and you know the outputs, and there's going to be some assumptions that there's going to be some certain setup already there. We're just going to test these inputs with our setup for these outputs. And that's what we could use it for testing point of view. Again, it's one of those questions. It's this great tool. A lot of people use it for a lot of different things, but okay, so now I want to run actual tests, because now even within pipelining, you can run these page scripts. So not only do you have your unit tests,
pretty good feature.
Yeah, so now we can do that as well too. And with replay, you can do a whole batch of tests as well, instead of having them individual as well too. So So your book covers that. So we'll have to read. We'll have to get it translated and read it, right?
Yeah, it's important to understand also those two methodologies and not to mix it up, like to determine based on your needs what you want to accomplish.
Yeah. And then, see, now my mind's going with the page script and so many things I would love for it to do, but I'm going to hold off until everything comes out in the next release to see what's there and to see where my wish list goes with that as well too. So also now to go back, so with the development point of view from you, what are some things we talked about some tips and tricks or some tips for getting somebody into AL. How do you think we could attract more talent to come into working with Business Central and AL development?
Yeah, that's really.
You have the class that you teach. So how do you draw people to want that?
Yeah, those are like students, like those are juniors. But if we are speaking about juniors, like it's nothing. It's easier than from seniors who want to change, like the language where they work on and so on. But there isn't easy way to attract them. Like,
is it better to have someone coming from a functional side and then going into development, or bringing in somebody into the development that has no prior knowledge of even other programming languages? Because I think that's one of the things that I've noticed, that the people that have those experience with other programming language, they try to replicate some of the things that they could do, and then like realize that I can't do it here, and so they get a little bit of frustration because they have that expectation of what it can do for you. So I'm curious about what your perspective would be, is if you're attracting somebody, would it make sense for someone that's maybe know the business process or functional side of things going into development? Because there's plenty of functionals out there, right?
Yeah, but so from the functional side, we look for the totally different candidates, like the ones who know finance, accounting, and so on, and then Business Central for them. And it's easier to attract like new consultants than developers. But for developers, like no luck to get like functional and then to switch to development, because in order to do like programming, you need to understand it's not just typing the code, and at some point you are ending like writing blindly some of the statements, but not understanding what happens behind. And my sessions like lately was everything regarding performance in AL and so on. So you need deeply to understand, like after you get like your path from junior to medior, then to senior, then you need to understand how Business Central in the background works, on the SQL part, on the platform part, and then combine all the knowledge. And with the candidates which are really just functional, for them it was really challenging to understand anything which goes beyond Business Central background. If we mention SQL, SQL here and there, but whole architecture of Business Central, Azure, and everything, that becomes challenging.
That's an interesting take. Yeah.
No, I did. Well, then you can also say someone who goes from Navision to Business Central. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm not even going down that road, because as we always talk about with everybody, it was the wild, wild west at one point. It's still the wild, wild west, but it's getting a little tamer. Individuals are realizing it's not the wild, wild west anymore. Well, it is.
Yeah, you just can't go to the street and just whip out and shoot.
I see some people try to do that. You can publish the extensions and I think create some havoc. You had mentioned some performance, and performance is another topic that I see quite often. Is exactly as you mentioned. It's either from someone who came from Cal and thought that you could write the code the same way. The syntax is similar. There's a lot of similarities, but again, the platform's different. So sometimes the code that was, I summarize this loosely. Sometimes code that was good in Cal is not good in AL, and a lot of individuals don't accept that. And I see a lot of people who doing migrations of code from Cal to AL, and they're like, well, in Cal, it just worked perfect. And it was fine, and now it doesn't work, and they don't, And again, it's
brute force.
Well, I mean, that mindset's a little challenging because you're taking one technology and moving it into another technology and assuming that it's going to work the same way. It's almost like putting hay into a gas car. I tell everybody, right? You had horse and buggy used to feed hay to the horse, right, to eat so that the horse would have fuel to move, and now you have gas or electric cars. Right, they still kind of work the same. They do the same thing. But that's a better analogy. You don't put gas in an electric car. You put electricity for it to work and become efficient. So, what are some of? I've seen some of your performance articles as well. And what are some of the performance tips? Like, if you can think of some of the top performance tips that you have can relay, like the mistakes that people have made or things that you realized can work to help. I know it's a very vague question. I understand because
the question will answer from itself when BC Tech Days video come out. There it was a really popular session, and the whole room was filled, the biggest room. So I was really glad to see a lot of people. But the people who work with the performance are very little part of this community. So you can count them on two hands.
Yes, you can. You can.
So it's really a really challenging area, and you need like a lot of experience in that area. And so even for some optimization patterns, which you will see, they work from certain version, even on BC. You mentioned already NAV. So NAV from one version to Business Central, even if full procedure will work the same, there is a high chance that now you can do optimization at Business Central part. So you can go beyond like the performance which you had. And like the simplest example is like set load fields, which can limit your queries and so on. So like that's one little thing which can a lot improve your queries and so on, but that has not been existing. And if you have like simple procedure which was working in an NAV and is working now in Business Central, you can go beyond and beyond to optimize it more and more. And then that's the benefit. And then from the session where I mentioned that there is actually some platform optimization, those platform optimization happen like from certain version of Business Central. And I was focusing on the session from Business Central 25 and up. So the tests are conducted on those two versions. So even if you're using like BC 22, 23, you may not have those platform optimizations. So basically the platform looks for your patterns based on your code, not the code, but the queries which are exchanged between Business Central and SQL, and then analyze it and changes slightly those queries that your queries are now more optimized, so to say, And then even though the code is same, but more times repeated, if you're running into the loop, platform itself will change slightly your code without you knowing it, so to say.
Okay, so one of the tips that you said that someone could look at set load fields, and set load fields, just for those that may not be familiar with it, is on the record that you have, you can, if you're doing a query or you're looking to retrieve records, you can determine which fields you bring back. So if you have a table with 100 fields, with set load fields, you can pick that you only may need to have 5 of these fields come back because you're not going to look at any of the other fields. So you can get some performance because you're not retrieving the entire record. You're only retrieving the specific fields that you need, which is a slight improvement. But if you do it, like you said, over and over again, or if you have large data sets, it can give you a little boost in performance.
Yeah, when the video comes up, like you will see like real example, like with also queries which are made in both calls. It is like one query because set load field contains already reduced number and the time which needs to be pulled, it's also shown in the graph. So when the video comes up, it will be everything will be available and with a lot of examples. But also one more popular example is like when I've written the blog. So the one example took like community attention, so to say, and it was like.
Can I guess?
Yes.
Is empty.
Yes. True.
Am I right? Am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I read that. I followed that whole conversation.
So at the end, there was like 5 more blogs. Yeah, but yeah. So my point at that blog was just that you should not use is empty before. And I did more examples and shown full SQL background on the tech days, and that was also my first example which I showed. So basically what you are doing is repeating is empty before find set because of platform optimization. So then I captured all the events and then looped through, and at some point the query changed like to optimized one. And then you had like is empty, and then checking automatically is empty before find set. It wrapped whole query with is if exists, and then if you do is empty in front, you will be just doubling the same thing, and that's where platform optimization comes up.
So that's another tip is empty. That was an interesting conversation. There was a period of time I was following it. I was confused. Should I use is empty or should I not use is empty? But I think, like you said, as it filtered through,
got a lot of feedback from the community. Like because I was doing like some other sessions on Days of Knowledges regarding performance, but in different parts from BC Tech Days, and the one thing which was used more in NAV was find minus.
I was just going to ask that, the find set versus the find minus, find plus, and the find first and the find last.
Yes. So
he's reading my mind.
When people saw like what is the difference, they realized, oh, there is a difference, because with find minus you are just pulling like 50 records each time, like. And you need, when you have more than 50 records and you are looping through, you are executing next and then crafting the fully new query to pull rest of the records. And with the define set, you will just put everything in the data set. So I made some visualization for the tech days, so you will be able to see like the communication wise how that happens, like the statement, then SQL server. Then again, that another query comes to SQL, then fills the buffer additionally. And then we also need to speak about memory relocation, because that also is existing at Business Central background on the platform. And even though that you don't see it, it is existing. You cannot control it as in C# and so on, but it does some things automatically. And there are also some few examples during the BC Tech Days, like for the memory side, and also from the pointer side. So how is certain record type stored in the memory of Business Central? So the biggest difference was with text and text builder, where the text is just stored in the memory, and then you need to relocate and everything because you have just certain amount of the space. But whereas with text builder, you have the pointer in the memory, and everybody who worked with pointers knows that that's easier to expand. Like, yeah, it's not working like that you already allocated the memory. So, and that was like big difference into the performance and so on. So really a lot of interesting.
Yeah, a lot of little tricks. So I want to just jump back. So between the find set and the find minus retrieves a finite number of records, and if you need to use more than the records retrieved, then it will keep continuing to do the queries. Whereas find set will return the entire result to you.
Yeah.
So if you maybe similar to like find first, find last, if you need to use only a few records, then find minus may be more performant. Whereas if you need to go through everything, find set would be more performant. See, that's the big thing is I talk with individuals about that. There are different cases where you still need it, because I was talking with somebody that looked at code and there was a find minus in there, and they said, wow, you're supposed to use find set now. So I had a big discussion with them and explained to them there is a difference to what's happening. One is just using block sizes, and that's back from the old nav days as well, where you could actually specify the cache size of the records that you're retrieving. So there's a big difference there, Kris. Did you know that?
But everything everything is like dependent on the code, rest of the code, and the whole logic. So there are use cases for each scenarios, and even slight change in the code can like result like that you need to write it differently. So it really depends from the lot. But these things which we are speaking about are like AL patterns, and that's one thing also which I am trying to do now, is also to spread word about AL guidelines, because those are important for a lot of reasons. First, I will mention AI, that you will be able to use AL guidelines as a memory, where I have been speaking with Microsoft that Copilot in the GitHub is now working on pull request review, and it's not working like great because it doesn't have like too much context about best practices and everything. But now, if we have whole community with to work on AL guidelines, we will be able to give Copilot's context of what are the best practices. So we'll get more accurate pull requests and so on. So that is one thing. And second thing is contribution wise and your project side wise, that everybody should write most performant, most standardized code. So your way of writing the code should not differ much as the code from Microsoft. And that's also one of the challenges for me and the rest reviewing base app pull requests, because you end up like reviewing a lot of things which are repeating always and not according to best practices.
Yes, and that's, well, you said that's Microsoft, but some of that Microsoft code needs to be refined too, to be honest. I know.
Yeah,
it's very, well, you said not to write it like Microsoft. I mean, some of it is, it's very difficult to every release with changes of language and platform and architecture to replace all of the code, I know, but so there are some areas that could need a little attention as well too.
Yeah, of course. No, I didn't thought that the code is flawless, and it is also receiving a lot of attention each time. Like there are a lot of bugs and so on. So that's being covered also.
Yes.
But slowly, like base app is really big. Like
it's huge.
As you said, like you cannot change everything like that.
And they're pulling it out too with the foundation layer, with the system app, with the base app. So now I like what they're doing with it. It just takes time, and it's not easy to do. And also, it's not easy to do while you have a large customer base as well. So there's a lot of people using the application. and you can't just shift it all up like that. So we talked about find first and we talked about find set and find minus. We talked about the use of is empty. We talked about the text builder with the pointers. So many people I talk with don't understand the benefits of using text builder. They say, I could just concatenate all these strings together or build things, and it works fine. But it's the little things that add up over time, and it's when you start repeating a lot of these calls is that when you really start to notice the impact on it. Do you have any other tips for us? I know the video will be out of your session, hopefully at some near point in the future, but do you have another to round out some of these performance tips, some other big performance tips that you've encountered or you have?
Well, yeah, we can like dig deeper and deeper. Like
I like digging deeper.
there is basically a lot, these are like the most popular ones. But so which would be like more interesting is also, let me think, calc field and auto calc field.
Yes.
Because also number of queries which are sent to the SQL, it can cause the SQL overload. So with calc fields, you will be sending, if you are doing repeatedly in the loop on some set of the records, you will be for each loop sending one SQL query. Versus when you do the AutoCalc fields, that additional calculation will be included into find set, because that AutoCalc fields is set before find set, and then you do the find set. So the platform itself can do basically optimization and craft into the one query, and you don't cause any more SQL overload. So that's also one big one. So to say.
The big ones, the auto calc fields versus the calc fields individually within each call.
Yeah. So then we have like also some examples we had like with errors on the SQL. So there was some pattern which can be used, but for the singleton tables. So if not insert then modify, you may be seeing.
Yes, I saw that article too.
So what it does, it basically, if the insert doesn't succeed, it will return the error, and you have the handling of the Business Central, then some events triggering and everything, until another query for modify is crafted and then sent to the SQL. And that takes time. Not basically the sending of the insert query, but the error which is returned by the SQL and then has to be parsed. That takes some time, and then
So the use of if not insert then modify is non-performant. What should somebody do instead?
Checking it the right operation. So if you check like if the table is empty beforehand, or even with the get, because get happens almost instantly. So you will, even though you are sending the query, it will be like fully optimized query. You will get really fast response. And then, so we either checking both ways. So if it is empty, so not existing record, you will choose proper action. In this case, insert, else you will modify. And similar to the get. So if you have got that record, you can modify it, else you just insert. So you will do one additional query, but you see, like that query is at this point really optimized, so it returns a really fast response versus handling of the error. So you are not having one additional query in case of error, but that error handling takes more time than having one additional query. So there is like not logical when you say it's everything regards SQL statement counts or something like that. It is not always the clear situation like that. So even in this case, you can have like more SQL calls, but better performance, because there is nothing like handling of error. It is just straightforward, and those SQL statements are already optimized.
See, that's a good one too. It's like, again, it's all these little things that everybody's used to like writing and thinks that, if not insert, then modify, that end up causing some problems. And if you do it repeatedly, I've seen people do this repeatedly, and it can add up. Yeah. It can add up over time. That's what ends up happening is if people think one time you may be okay. But if you start to do this repeatedly in the course of the action, anything that you have that takes time, it could potentially slow everybody else down too, depending upon what you're doing.
And combining all of this, because in my tests I have been isolating each of the examples to have like clear performance of each example separately. But if you combine those performance optimization, you can get like really much more better results. And also, if you are doing everything wrong, it can pile up, like you said, like even though it's not repeated, but with repeating it in the loops, and more users, more sessions, and so on. So it can get really bad.
Yes, it can get there. Yeah, that's another interesting one. Let's round it out with one more so we can have our 5. So we have, I'm not going to repeat them all. We went through them. Let's do one more.
Yes.
One thing I would love to get into, but I don't know if we have time for the conversation, is locking of the tables.
Yes. So,
but we don't have to. But you can go into your other 5th highest. But at some point, and then even with the new functionality that they've added to the language, to be able to pick up the within the database what type of
basically locking got really improved with 3-state locking.
Yes.
But from the performance side, like I covered also 2 examples. Which are like delete all and is empty before it, and modify all and is empty before modify all. And if you take a look on those examples, like even for delete all, you will get better performance, like just triggering it delete all. So delete all will get you like it's good until it isn't. So
delete all is good.
Until it isn't.
Until it isn't. Someone's going to take that snippet, by the way, and just repeat, delete all is good.
I always go with until it isn't, because my saying is until they don't. Like, it's a factual saying I say to people all the time, like, they're my best friend, or everybody likes me. Somebody actually said that to me. They said, everybody likes me. I said, until they don't.
No, that's what I'm saying. Someone's going to take the snippet of this recording and just repeat it. And then omit the other part.
So when using delete all or modify all, you shouldn't use an is empty before it.
Yeah, if you are not using, if the table is empty and you are doing, for example, delete all, you will actually lock the table. And then it's much slower because, and then with is empty, the delete all will not lock, obviously, because if no records, delete all won't be triggered. And in that case, when you take a look on the table, which is not always is empty, it is not fully optimized. Like, you can get better performance if you are using delete all, but you will have like downside that the records will be locked when the table is empty. So there are some patterns. So even that the performance in some cases is better, you should not sacrifice that to the locking because it can cause more issues in some cases. So yeah,
that's good. We have a tip. A lot of tips here. I could talk about tips with you for days, probably a lot longer than the session that you had. And also,
I think I rushed a bit also the session there. And I think it has like 30-40 examples, like 40, so to say. I am not sure.
No, it's good.
A lot of examples.
The examples are good, and you have a lot of examples on your blog as well too. So
not that much. I'm thinking about like writing it from the tech days. what I have been speaking about, not in one, because I try to keep like the blocks certain size to be readable. few examples per blog, and that's it. And if you do like 20 examples, it will be like too much.
Yeah, you need the small bites.
No, it is. I do think now. I think society. I think with the TikTok generation and the 30-second snippets and the Instagram reels and all these. I think everybody likes the short.
That's all you need.
Well, you have the short video snippets to learn, right?
Yeah.
So it's now people don't like to read to learn. They like to watch a video of a distinct point. So
I think we are missing some shorts videos on the YouTube.
That is true. There's not a lot of them. How can you do
True.
that in 60 seconds or less? That's hard.
well, I think.
Yeah, focusing on the most important part.
Yeah,
like,
I still think you need to get like the good 5 to 10 minutes. 5 to 10 minutes is a sweet spot, maybe 7. So we'll have to see. But well, Stefan, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us. Thank you again for your flexibility in rescheduling several times. We appreciate your flexibility. We appreciate you taking your time to speak with us. Time truly is the currency of life. When you spend it, you can't get back. So any time that anybody spends with us, we greatly appreciate. And
thank you all for inviting me.
No, thank you. And I hope
thank you.
I'd like to schedule a follow-up that we can maybe once the video is out, we know it's out, we could touch back on some performance. I see a lot of performance conversations, and I think we could expand upon that in a few months. I think would be great.
And we could talk about your water polo stint.
Yeah, the one thing which you missed yesterday when you was with a mechanical guy with the fridge. So I was training water polo like 10 years ago.
Really?
Until 10 years. So, but for the 10 years, until 10 years. Yeah. And I stopped, and now I started it again. So nearly every day, like 5 times a week, I do like from 8 p.m. I go now, since it is summer, on the pool outside, and we do play a game and so on. So
water polo is extremely impressive because
that's what I was saying, man.
Your feet aren't on the ground. Like you have to tread water, and like to shoot, or I don't know what they call it, but the only time I watch water polo is in the Olympics, and I love it because I'm just impressed at what the individuals, the athletes can do when they're playing water polo, because like they just get up out of the water and shoot with such force, but there's nothing holding them. They have to like
floating.
They're floating in water, and they're like.
I think that's also most asked question when I get, because this is like not professional. Like it's like taking like 4 months until it's good weather and the pool is active outside. So the most common question is like, how do you get up? Like your swimsuit is like visible, like when you get in front and you shoot, like, and that's most common question. And yeah, from my side, I was like playing in the first team, like when I was back then training. And,
that's impressive, though.
I don't know. Your cardiovascular strength has to be amazing to do that, and just even your physical strength, because I would drown. You put me in there treading water for 5 minutes, I'd drown. Never mind having people jump over me and having to swim back and forth and then jumping up to. I mean, they just like jump in the water.
Yeah, it's impressive, man.
Very impressive.
Yeah, I'm having my wife like trying to drown me on the sea, but not succeed.
Listen, I don't think you want to record that, because if it really happens, then she can say, he told me to try.
No.
Oh, man.
No,
that's impressive.
Have you had any scary experiences playing water polo? I mean, water is serious.
No. Basically not. You get some cramps and so on.
I figured you get cramps. Yeah.
When you train, you get used to it, because you keep swimming. That was
to survive.
Yeah, no. Basically, like when you are playing a game, Like we had some scenarios like playing a game in another country where it was colder and the pool was like 5 meters because of the high jumps and so on, and the water was ice cold. Like, and the trainer said, like before the game, like who doesn't jump in when I blow the whistle, he doesn't play. So you have to jump. Yeah, and the similar thing is when you stand and you get the cramp. Yeah, like you have to swim further or you won't play again.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I think any athlete for any of these sports, I think it's a lot of work and a lot of dedication. And water polo is one of those. When I watch it, I'm just in awe. That and synchronized swimming is another one I watch, and I'm like, how do they do that? Because they're mostly underwater. Like how do you get it to where you're level? So any of those aquatic sports are impressive.
True.
So,
but yeah, like 10 years ago, it was like either professionally water polo or just career. So studies and so on. So like yeah,
those are your options.
Yes,
it's good that you're getting back.
Water polo is not like well paid only if you got into representation and the first team and everything. So even there, it's like good, but not overpaid like football and everything, basketball and so on. So it's not like overpaid sport.
No. Well, it's impressive that you're doing it. It's impressive that you're going back to it too. It's good that you to get out and do that. Kris, I need to go play pickleball or something. I have to start.
You got to pick something, man. I know it's kind of be hard for you for like running wise. Like I've been running myself. I think I've been doing 10K a day, every other day.
But when you speak about the running, also one interesting also crossroad, which could also potentially lead me onto another side, is like when I was like choosing which studies I want to go, I also got into the police academy, something like that.
You've done everything.
Police academy, but it's differently called in Serbia. You become like a policeman, so not inspector, something like that. You say here. Because you can go to the police with academy, and this is faculties. You end up something like in your side, like detective, something like that. You get more rank. So I ended up there, and then after a few months, I returned to IT. But
I can probably tell you why. I understand. It's not as easy as people think, and it's not easy. I'm not saying it's not easy because it's just not easy. It's not easy mentally as well. Anybody who does those types of jobs, I commend them because it takes a lot of.
It was also not one of the reasons. One of the reasons was also that the salaries, like salary wise, like it's much lower there, and there was also some changes from the payments side, like those years. So I decided, like, let's go different path. And IT, it was growing like a shining star. And since I had like experience previously with IT, it was like getting into the faculty was like pretty easy. Like knowing the exams like to pass and so on. So it was like really easy to pass.
I'll be interested to see where IT goes with all this AI in the future, the salaries with all these agents and everybody else doing a lot of these tasks.
But I think until this point, it's like a helper tool, and I think everybody can use it, but we are still not talking about replacing fully jobs.
No, I don't think you're I think you do help with the performance. I do help. You think it can help with productivity? Excuse me. Jeez, I'm tongue tied right now. And we're not at that state, but I think that's what I'm saying. I'm interested to see where it ends up with some of these functions as well to see. So it's a whole new world, as they say. In the city. Well, sir, thank you again for taking the time to speak with us. If anyone would like to get in contact with you to learn more about your sessions, learn more about your information, or maybe even learn more about water polo, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Yeah, I think the easiest one is the contact form on the blog, but there is also the email, like stefan.šošić@bcility.com. So I'm following also that mail actively. So yeah, through email, and then we will see where it leads us.
Great. Thank you again. We appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing some of your water polo adventures too. Throw some of those on your blog every now and then.
Yeah,
too.
You should.
We get to see what you do outside of all of the great things that you're doing for the community. Again, thank you again, sir, and talk with you soon. Ciao.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Kris, for your time for another episode of In the Dynamics Corner Chair. And thank you to our guests for participating.
Thank you, Brad, for your time. It is a wonderful episode of Dynamics Corner Chair. I would also like to thank our guests for joining us. Thank you for all of our listeners tuning in as well. You can find Brad at developerlife.com. That is DVLPRLIFE.com. And you can interact with them via Twitter, DVLPRLIFE. You can also find me at matalino.io, MATALINO.io. And my Twitter handle is Matalino16. And you can see those links down below in the show notes. Again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, and take care.